Hey up troops, A Littleton here again with another video. This time we're going to compare 4 intel operators. We're going to look at Valkyrie, we're going to look at Echo, we're going to look at Maestro, we're going to look at Mozzie. And it begs the question, is Valkyrie the best? Is it Echo? Or is it Maestro? Or is it Mozzie? A cinematic masterpiece there, transitioning between the scenes. So as we make our way through these 4 operators, we're going to look at a couple of factors. We're going to look at the positives, the negatives, the weapons, and give them an overall score. With some operators, and there's a key thing that I actually didn't mention in the video, and I said it for the first operator and not the last 3. Might as well say it now. The key thing about one of the operators, Valk, is that once you've thrown the cameras, that's your job done. The other 3 operators, Maestro, Echo, and Mozzie, need to be alive to get the best use out of their utility. And in the video, I've realized when I watched the clips back, I meant to say that for Maestro, Mozzie, and Echo as well, but they need to be alive to get the benefit of their utility, you know, to get the lasers from Maestro or the plant denial from Echo. Valkyrie doesn't need that. So I did mean to mention that, but I've told you now instead, so don't say I didn't say it. Other than that, there's no more waffling. We've all had enough. Let's get stuck into it. First things first, before we get into this, shoot the radio. Why are they in the game? Right then, Valkyrie, let's get started. Valkyrie gets 3 of these things. Valkyrie cams, black eye cams, whatever you want to call them. You get 3, you can place them wherever you want to, and they're super sticky. They stick to any wall, any surface. The best thing you can do with these is hide them from plain view. This is an absolute classic up here. It rarely gets seen and spotted by defenders, because as they're coming, sorry, by attackers, defenders don't want to shoot them out. As you're coming through the door here, by the time you get here, it's already out your view up there. It gives you an unreal view of the entirety of construction, even when you don't place it very well, because that's facing down. The other thing that you can do with Valkyrie is place these in sight. Give you an opportunity to C4 from below. Let me just place that up in the corner. That isn't a very good camera, but it's going to prove my point. Place that down there. And come below and head back on Valkyrie. You can see if someone's planting in the default spot there. Give that a ping, and we C4 below, which is an absolute classic. I do it all the time, especially on Canal. The other thing to think about is you can hide them inside things, because it'll stick to surfaces. So rather than just putting this on the wall like this, you can put it on the shelf underneath, and it'll be a little bit more hidden. So when someone's over here in stock, it's not as obvious. But I mean, starting with the way we're going to judge these things, then looking at benefits, negatives, and the weapon. I think the benefits of Valk is the ability to hide them way more inconspicuous than other intel operators' gadgets. Being able to hide them in all sorts of different places. For example, I'll show you another one up here in garage. You can throw this as high as you can on the underside of the window there, or on the left-hand side of the window. Gives you an overview of everything, but look at that. If you're an attacker, you're just not seeing that, are you? Again, I'll use the classic. I know we can see it because we can see it. We know it's there. But as an attacker, if you said spot the Valk cam in garage, it's going to be a pretty tough job to do. You don't even know there's a Valk cam in garage to begin with. So benefits, 3 cameras, which is more than some intel operators get. Negatives, I think the fact with Valkyrie for me is you don't get to do anything with the cameras. The cameras are just there. They give intel, and they give bloody good intel if you put them in the right place, but you can't do anything with them. What like the operators that we'll come on to are going to be Maestro, Echo, and Mozzie. You can do something with their intel all the time. You can move it, you can fire it, you can shoot lasers, you can shoot sonic boom, whatever you want to do. There's something you can do with those gadgets in addition to just giving information. So whilst it's an unreal gadget and probably one of the best on the defensive side, it's not absolutely unbelievably and impeccable, because there are things it could be improved on. Negatives are what I've just said. The fact that you can't do anything with the gadget once it's put down. Sometimes you can't get it back either. If you throw it in the wrong place, you can't grab it back. In terms of another benefit that I'm just thinking of whilst... by the way, I don't write scripts for videos, so when you watch a lot of other videos, you'll be like, oh wow, this is really put together. I literally just talk off the top of my head, because I feel like that's when I come up with my best ideas. So if I keep going back to benefits to benefits for negatives, that's why. Let's put one there. And it's got a lovely blue tint, so that's a great benefit. No, I'm just kidding. One of the benefits is, once you're dead, it doesn't matter. The cameras are in place. You don't need to worry about using them when you're dead. Once you've put them in good spots, they're there. If Valk dies in the first 10 seconds, those cameras are still going to give the information, which is really useful. Weapons-wise, you get to the MPX. I'm not going to go through every weapon. No one in the world is using the Spaz on Valkyrie anymore, unless you're playing casual or you're trolling. So just talking about the MPX, it's an absolute headshot machine. It's a laser. There's very little recoil. Ignore that bit. That was poor. There's very little recoil to it. Granted, it doesn't have the highest damage, but with the new extended barrel buff, it does a lot better these days. It just feels good as a weapon. It's not the strongest, but yeah, what would I give the MPX? Like a 6 or 7 out of 10 quite comfortably. Overall, Valkyrie, let's give her a score. For me, the gadget is unbelievable. One of the top 5 on defense with ease. Valkyrie gets a 9 out of 10. Next, we have none other than Mr. Echo himself. Echo gets 2 of these things called Echo drones or yokai drones, whatever you want to call them. These things can move around like a drone, but much faster than a drone. They can also stick to the ceiling. And they can fire a supersonic boom, or whatever you call it, a sonic blast, that has, this is important, has a range of 14 meters, which isn't as far as you think once you're on the ceiling. 14 meters is about that far. If you want the boom to take effect and to get someone off plant, which we'll come on to in a minute, it has to be within 14 meters. Now, as you can see when you fire it, there's a little ball that comes out. And that's what causes the effect on the enemy there. As you can see, they're not invisible like they used to be. That when you think about old Siege, it was mad. I used to be able to throw Valk cameras outside. Echo drones used to be invisible. How mad is that when you think about it? So you can't move about. There's a couple of different ways of playing Echo. The first one is to just imagine Deepek, who played for Rogue, who, well, technically still does, but it's Koi now, who at the Berlin Major was just literally droning Spoit and Kanto around the map on defense, but whilst playing Echo. So if you've got an aggressive gunner in your stack, you can play Echo, you can sit somewhere safe, you can throw your drone out, and you can drone your roaming defender around the map. And literally just, yeah, they're opening the window here, there's one coming in through gem, hold your cam here, give them the call, drop down, move the cam away, go somewhere else with the cam, try and find out, but use it like exactly like you would an attacker drone. The other way of playing Echo, of course, is far more defensively, and is to put your camera either on the room next to the site or in the site itself, and to put it somewhere hidden as best you can, really. There's not many places to put it in cache, but to use it in an area like this where, should an attacker come in and try and plant, the attacker's planting here, you can just get them off the plant by doing exactly what just happened there, and that's the effect it gives. This, by the way, is super, super, like, what's the word I'm thinking of? It's... I'm going to say super effective, but that sounds like I'm playing Pokemon. But you know what I mean? It's like, it's really, it's annoying for attackers. I can't think of the word I'm thinking of. Someone in the comments will hopefully say it's like really, shoot the radio, by the way. It's, it's really, I'm sorry, this isn't very professional in a video, but this is what we're dealing with. It's really oppressive, that's what I'm after. It's really oppressive for attackers. One thing to think about with Echo, by the way, I know we're here to talk about how good they are as operators, but I'm here to tell you a few little things you can do with them. Look how obvious that is there. If we were to put an Echo cam in a similar sort of place in this room for the default plant behind the bomb here, how obvious is that, right? With Echo, put your cams in a place that is a little bit more hidden, but still gives you a good view. So, for example, on this site, I always throw my cam up here. It's way more hidden, but it's going to give me the view of when I need to. Like, look at that now for an attacker. Way harder to see for an attacker. Obviously it's not lit up like that, but for an attacker it's way harder to see behind there. You could even move it further back. You can't even see that there. Now for us, we can still see the breach. So as soon as someone comes in, you know they've come in, you can jump off here, go up, get them off the plant and move it again. Don't just leave them like in the corner of rooms that can be destroyed super easily to begin with. And what else can you do with Echo other than playing him aggressively? You can arrange runouts. Now there's a couple of different places you can do this, and one of the places is on Clubhouse on Gym Window, and I'm going to show you this now. I'm not going to cut or edit it. I'm going to run all the way down because I want to show you what we do. So we go down to Strip and we open a hatch which never ever gets used. In fact, up until about a year ago, I didn't even know this hatch existed. Always shoot the speakers, by the way. This hatch here. So in the prep phase, we come down here, we open this hatch, leave your drone under that table just there. Then we go back up to gym, and we prep the window, and we get ready for the run out. This works every single time. It's free cheese, every egg a bird, every cow a cow pat. It works every time when the attackers shoot the radio. Why are they a thing? When the attackers are attacking the CCTV and cache, this will work every time. So get your drone ready under the hatch, fire it up through the hatch, look the right way for a start. That's this way we want to be looking. And look at who's on the roof, who's on CC window, who's on construction window, who's bottom garage maybe, someone's pushing around this area. Out you pop, shoot bottom garage. The classic though is shoot CCTV window. Don't fall off the edge like I just did. But that's a risk. I don't know, I've made a really good example there of what can happen if you're not careful. Shoot the radio. Why does everything make noise in this game? But yeah, that's the plan. Jump out, have a look at the drone, jump out. And the classic, by the way, is you get people sitting on this roof all the time. For some reason, they like hold construction window from there. Jump out, don't go too far off this lip. Kill the guy in CC window, hop back in. Jobs are good, and another good way of playing Echo. So, other than talking about what he's good at, what are his benefits are his camera actually does something. So not only do you get great information, you can do this to an attacker, which is really oppressive and suppressive and everything else, which is really, really good. Now, the cameras are faster. The drones, yokai drones, are really fast. So like I said to begin with, if you want to start droning your teammates, if you're in a 5-stack, or even if you're just duo stacking and your teammate's an absolute gunner, you can drone them around the map on defense, which is what would normally happen on attack. The negatives are, they're pretty obvious when they're on the ceiling, right? I mean, I know that that's lit up and we know it's there, but even as an attacker, if I'm coming up here, I'm seeing that, right? You can make them, you know, more hidden and make them more inconspicuous, and that's what you want to try and do. But as an attacker, that's fairly obvious to see in most places. The other thing to think about with Echo as well is it's actually really, really loud. And now I know in a map, in a game, in an actual game, there's going to be a lot of things going on in terms of gunfights and explosions and whatnot, but that is, like, it's easy to hear, even from here. I'm not turning the volume up, I'm not doing any sort of after editing there. It's just loud, and once you've heard that once, you know the sound wherever it is. So, negatives, yeah, it's loud, it's pretty obvious to see, and he only gets 2 of them. In terms of weapons, I am actually going to talk about both of Echo's weapons, because I believe both of them are viable. The MP5 SD is an absolute laser. It doesn't have very much recoil, it bounces around a bit more than the MPX, but you get a 1.5, it comes with a silencer, the damage is okay, it's easy to use, you get a sweet koi skin on it, if you want to use the MP5. Now, the other thing to think about is Echo can go shotgun bearing, and that is absolutely viable. The bearing isn't bad at all when you learn how to control the recoil, much like the SMG11. Just fire it in bursts. You're not going to dump a whole mag on someone because the recoil does get a little bit bouncy. But there's no reason, if you can use the SMG11, that you can't use the bearing. To use the bearing in the Supernova is definitely a worthwhile combination that I run sometimes on Echo. So, for me, the MP5 SD and the Supernova bearing combo gives Echo a bit of a boost as well, because his weapons, in my opinion, are much better than Valk's. In terms of a score, I really like playing Echo, especially since his speed change. He's now at 2 speed, used to be a 1 speed. I would give Echo an overall an 8 out of 10. I think Valkyrie's probably still a little bit better of an information operator, because that's what she does, out and out info. Whereas Echo can provide you a little bit more with those cameras if you're alive towards the end of the round and you place them well. Or you can play that other style of Echo that I mentioned, being completely aggressive around the map as well. I really like Echo at the minute, and I think he's underplayed in a lot of elo ranges. Moving on to option 3, we've got the big man Maestro. He's so underrated. We did a video about Maestro. I think it was the last video we posted. If you haven't seen that, go and watch it. It'll definitely help you play Maestro a little bit better. Maestro is, I think, a great op. He's been nerfed a bit recently, don't get me wrong, but he's still useful on a lot of sites. So what does Maestro get and how does he get him? I'm going to use a cam placement from what the video we did the other day. Maestro gets 2 of these bad boys. These are called Evil Eye cameras. They work by sticking them on the wall, and they give you a bit of thermal vision to see operators, but you can also open the front lens and fire sweet lasers out of there. Now bear in mind, when you open the front lens, these cameras become susceptible to being shot, and only when they're closed like this, they can't be shot. They're bulletproof. However, they can be punched, and it can break the glass on the Maestro cam. However, if the cam is broken, don't worry, you can still move it about, you just can't see anything. You still get all the audio cues, so if you know where your cam is and you know what the audio is doing, you still get good information. You can still open it, and you can still fire the lasers. Ow, they do 5 damage to an opponent or to your teammates, but just bear in mind that once that cam is open, the lens is open, and it's susceptible to getting shot. So you want to try and put these out of reach of attackers so they can't get punched like I just showed you there. Now, why is Maestro good and why are they good? You can destroy drones as and when they come through the through the door there. You can shoot the lasers at the drone. You can destroy other things like hard breach charges, Habana pellets, ace salmers, thermite exothermic charges. So when someone tries to do that on this wall here, you can get destroyed there. I know that's exactly what I mentioned on the video the other day, so if you watched that, I've just repeated myself, but I gotta mention it, you know what I mean? So what are the benefits of Maestro? The benefits, as I've said, is that they are able to do more than just give intel. Yes, they can give intel. They can look in 360, well, 180 degrees. Don't forget with Maestro, if you put one on the floor, I just like beat myself too saying this. If you put one on the floor, they can look in 360 degrees. Don't forget they can do that. So sometimes you can even put these, where's my Maestro cam gone? You can even put these in corners of the room. If no one drones you doing this, you can put this down here. And it's very rare an attacker will look to this side, obviously. But it's very rare an attacker's going to be looking here. So for an attacker to come in, the Maestro cam's behind them, they don't even know it's there. Obviously, the danger is if he does get drones, he's very easily punched and then he's sort of rendered most of its use is then gone. So just be careful with it. But it's definitely possible. They can do 360 when they're on the floor. So yes, they can destroy drones. Yes, they can destroy utility like breaching gadgets. They can also damage for 5 HP, like I say. Ow, that really stings. Negatives is the bloody obvious, aren't they? It's difficult to hide these. Like, if you get them in places like that, it's like way easy to hide them if you put them up high and out of the way. By the way, if you do put that up there, make sure you punch this chair, and then the attackers can't get back up there. Like, you can't get back up onto that desk if you punch the chair out. So it's bloody obvious. They're easily countered by just punching them, or if you've got the lens open to shoot the laser, you can just shoot inside the camera at the time. So they don't give you're as much sort of concealed intel as an Echo drone or as a Valk cam would, but they give you more in terms of being able to destroy drones, damage opponents, destroy gadgets. So it's clever how Siege does this. It's got its own sort of unique skill set, and I don't know, I think they're really good. You just got to think a little bit more about where you place them. You know, you see stuff like this all the time. I'm just going to place a Maestro cam there. Great, all right, well, I'm just going to walk in and punch it, and now it's no use. Just think about where you put it, make it difficult, get them up high. Negatives, yeah, dead obvious, make a lot of sound. They used to be much better when they were unable to be punched, but there is a few negatives to it, but if you can put them in good places, I think the positives outweigh the negatives. In terms of weapons, tell me why the Elder isn't the best gun on defense. Someone tell me in the chat, well, I haven't got a chat because this is a video, but in the comments, why is the Elder not the best gun on defense? Literally no recoil. Well, there is a little bit of recoil, but barely any recoil. 80 rounds. Yes, you have to book a week off work to reload the thing. Like, you've got to get 5 days annual leave in to reload it, but you've got 80 rounds. You shouldn't really have to be worrying about reloading it that often. It's got a decent damage output, and the recoil's not very high. I think it's got to be up there with the best guns on defense. But because Maestro's a 1-speed, people frown at him. Don't be like that to the big guy. So, don't forget he's also got a bailiff to open hatches and make rotates and lines of sight as well. In terms of a score, I have to give Maestro, in his current state, and it pains me to say this, I have to give Maestro a 6. Now, the reason I give him a 6 is his gadget brings him down. I actually think, and I said this on the video I did before, it's still a very strong gadget compared to some other stuff. Gives you a lot of intel, you can do a lot with it, but it is easily countered and it is easily destroyed. And there are a lot of operators out there with a Gon 6 these days that can just pop it. That's the reason he gets a lower score. However, the Elder pops his score up. I think if Maestro has the MPX and the Maestro cams, he's probably getting like a 3 out of 10. Whereas the Elder gives him a 6 for me. Plus he gets impacts, observation blockers. Don't shoot the wall. It's just like, I'm going to play Maestro all the time tonight when I play Siege. He's such a good... I really enjoy playing him, and I think he's a great guy as well. I think I'd really enjoy going to the pub with Maestro. Maestro gets a 6 out of 10. Let's move on to the fourth and final intel operator. And now last, but by no means least, we're on to my boy Mozzie. Mozzie gets 3 of these things. They're called pests. Mozzie pests, whatever you want to call them. And these are little hacking devices that when a drone comes past them, you see the radius that they have, by the way. But, oh, no you don't, because I didn't pick it up properly. When you see the radius, when a drone comes into that radius and attack a drone, of course, the pest will take over the drone and Mozzie will then have control of it. Now, just like we prepared earlier, I've got a drone on the other side of this door. If I just take the other PC, hang on, through we come. Just like that. That drone is now Mozzie's drone. Say goodbye. It was Ash on the outside. Thanks, Ash, but that's now our drone. Now, we just go on cams like you normally would, and the first thing Mozzie gets is a drone. So just like an attacker droning round, Mozzie now gets control of this. Now, what are the benefits? Well, obviously, the benefit is we get a drone. But there's a hidden benefit, which I'm sure most of you are aware of. It now means the attackers don't have a drone. So Mozzie has 3 of those things, so potentially, not only can you get 3 drones, you can deny the attackers having 3 drones as well. So, you know, the drone, in my opinion, and I say this all the time, is the best bit of equipment an attacker has. Being able to not only get 3 of them yourself, but take them directly from the enemy team is absolutely huge. Now, with Mozzie, the best thing to do, in my opinion, is 2 things. 1, to get a drone in the prep phase and come and pre-place that drone, and I'll show you an unbelievable spot here for border, on the bootcase, on the barricade, on top of the CCTV rack. Unbelievable camera of view of CCTV on break, and you can't even see that from here either behind the monitors. Obviously, the classic, we know it's there, so we can see it. You can barely even see it, even though we know it's there. Great view of all of CCTV. And all of break there using the door here. I always use this for a flank cam on attack. The other one in this room is a bit more obvious, but jump onto this box. Oh, actually jump onto the box, Andy. Andy, jump onto... Maybe I have to go up a bit lower this time. I mean, I don't normally have to do that, but I will for this video. And then onto this box. Oh my god, this is embarrassing. This doesn't normally happen, guys, I promise. Why can't I've jumped on this and there we go. Jumped on that box a million times in my Siege career, and now when I'm recording the video, I can't do it. And then onto this box. There we go. I'm not cutting that out. I'm showing you things don't work perfectly all the time. Now, it's a bit easier to see there. Obviously, we know it's there, so we know it's, you know, we're looking for it. But as a camera, I mean, it gives you a view of everything and a really good view of the door as well going into 90. So, the benefits for Mozzie is he gets the 3 drones, but takes the 3 drones from the attackers. The other benefit is, of course, you can not only pre-place the drones, but you can move them around. The second way of playing Mozzie that when I said you can play in 1 or 2 ways, is when a drone comes through the door in the prep phase, don't hack it. Now, it sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? But when the 5 drones for the prep phase come into the building, don't hack the drone. Shoot the drones. Then put your 3 pests down. So then you've not... If you think about... Attackers get 10 drones to start round, yeah? To start round... Why have I got turned into someone from Yorkshire? They get 10 drones to start round. Now that, for anyone who's American, that won't mean anything, but that's what people talk like when they're from Yorkshire. Attackers... I've gone off tangent. Got off script a little bit there. Attackers get 10 drones, right? To start the round. It's 5 in the prep phase, 5 in the action phase. If you put your 3 pests down in the prep phase... You take 3 of those drones, meaning they then have a total of 7 drones. In the prep phase, instead of hacking the drones, you shoot the drones. You've then only got 5 drones left for the action phase. If you then put 3 pests down, that only leaves him with a maximum of 2 drones. So I know that's sort of assuming that we're going to shoot all 5 drones in the prep phase, but I prefer to shoot the prep phase drones and take the action phase drones. Or, unless like border, if we've got a sweet C4 from below plan like we do in this room, I'll take 1 in the prep phase. I always put 1 on this door because a drone comes into here all the time. Put 1 on this door, go and pre-place the drone somewhere in security, and then go and put a C4 either under this window or under this door downstairs, and you get a free kill. So there's 2 ways of playing Mozzie there. Take the prep phase drones, or shoot the prep phase drones, take the action phase drones. Negatives of Mozzie. I don't think there's a great deal, really. The only negative I can really name is when an attacker will drive through this door here and get his drone hacked. What an attacker will then do... Bear with me a second. What the attacker will then do is just shoot the bottom of that door and destroy the drone just before you get a chance to get control of it. Because remember, as soon as that drone comes through, you've got to wait for the hacking process to happen for you to then get on your cams and move that drone. And an attacker who knows what he's doing in that time will have shot where that drone was and destroyed it. So I guess that could be a negative. In terms of weapons, I nearly swore then. I absolutely rate the commando, you know. I think it's absolutely class. There's no recoil with the extended barrel. It's an absolute, like the damage could be said. You could say the damage is a little bit low without the extended barrel. With the extended barrel change, it's absolutely unreal. Not only that, you get a sweet reload animation. It looks cool. It's just a great gun. If Mozzie didn't have the Roni, people would go mad about this gun. However, he does also have the Roni with a 1.5. I'm not a massive fan. I feel like whether I'm just a bit crap at the game and I end up missing my shots a little bit too much, I don't know. But I just don't feel like I hit as many shots with the Roni as I do with the Commando. The Commando's mint. So, bearing in mind what we said about the utility, bearing in mind what we just said about the weapons, I'm going to give Mozzie an overall score of 7 out of 10. So there we have it. That's all 4 Intel operators listed, scored, ran through, talked through. In my opinion, I still think Valkyrie's at the top of the list there. However, it's only my opinion. What's your opinion? Get it in the comments below. Tell me who you prefer playing. If you were to say you prefer Echo to Valkyrie, I wouldn't hold that against you because I think Echo's absolutely class. Or if you say you prefer Mozzie, whatever. Everyone's welcome to an opinion. Whatever you prefer playing, whatever you play best with, is the best operator for you. If you've got this far in the video, you're an absolute legend. Even if you watch 10 seconds, thanks very much. I say it every time, and today's no difference. This channel's nothing without you. So thank you very much for watching. I appreciate you supporting me. Appreciate you watching. Saying nice things under the comments. I really appreciate it, man. Other than that, sums it up for another one. I'll see you next time. Cheers!